think that's very important. The whole environment has changed. Even we have more 5-star and luxury hotels coming. When these people they come for staycations, they come. I mean, they can't eat the hawker food for 3 meals and for 3 days trip or the whole weekend. They have to find something else to make their Penang experience more complete. All this will drive for a better direction and the whole dining scene to even improve.
You're listening to Foodie Canteen. I'm your host, Castle Lim. And in this podcast, I'm sitting down with Southeast Asia's leaders, entrepreneurs, and content creators in the F&B space. You will learn about their trade secrets, or you'll just find them as your next door neighbor. This show is supported by Good Foodie Media. For foodie who wants to connect to the world through food, they curate the best spots to eat and drink in Malaysia, Bangkok, and Singapore. Check them out on Instagram for more. We have a special guest today. His restaurant was the only one in town voted into the 51 to 100 list of Asia's 50 best restaurants 2021. Time to sharpen up your cooking skills with the best chef in Georgetown. Hey Johnson, welcome to the show.
Hey Casey, hi.
So happy to have you here today. You are the chef and the founder of Gun, a modern Malaysian cuisine restaurant here in Penang, and also a couple other F&Bs like Communal Table and How Shy. How did you start it as a chef?
I after graduate of high school and I went to get my diploma in Australia. If you ask me what to get my inspiration to pursue this career, I would say because I love cooking. Probably it's my mom reason. She loves to cook different kind of cuisine. Then I love cooking. Then I love to taste the food. That's probably the reason drive me to this career.
Yeah, and prior to starting these restaurants in Malaysia, you studied in the Cordon Bleu in Sydney and traveled around the world for a bit, including like Middle East and Paris. How was the experience for you?
It was interesting. It's very diverse, and different continents, different type of cuisine. I traveled a few countries. It was exactly different experience. And I started from Sydney, Australia. Australia is a country with more diverse multicultural, and even the cuisine there is more like produce driven. It's based on their fresh produce from different climate because Australia has different climate. And then I moved there to Dubai. Dubai, that is completely different than Australia because they don't even really have their own fresh produce. So it's totally different environment. So yeah, but still there's a lot of plenty of restaurant hotels over there. So the people still work just in a different condition. And then I moved back to Asia, to Hong Kong and Macau. That where I work for a French restaurant. Again, it's a different training. It's a 3-star Michelin restaurant. So the principle and the philosophies are very much strict over there. That's what I learned, and I moved to Europe for a short period of stage. And I end up in Paris before I'm moving back to Malaysia. Yeah.
And your schooling and working experience, they are more of, it's very European. And then now you're back in Malaysia, where we're going to talk about Ken's concept later, where you use a lot of neighborhood and local ingredients to enhance and make it into a fine dining concept. Was it a hard transition, you would say, because your background is more European and now it's very Malaysian?
The process, I won't say hard. I mean, the idea when I decide when I'm coming back to Malaysia, the idea is already started. I already started the idea. I want to do something related to Malaysia. That's the reason why I decided to come back to Malaysia. And I mean, even though when I come back to Malaysia, I didn't open my own restaurant for the first time. I joined the other company, but even though in that restaurants, I've been a head chef. I start to use a lot of local produce. Even it's still a French-based restaurant, but I started to get approached with a lot of local produce, local inspirations. Even though the fundamentals still within the French cuisine, but I think I start things bit by bit from there. The decision already been made since I decided to come back to Malaysia, as I say. But and things won't just come together in one go. Things go bit by bit, and yeah, and at the end, that's what we do at Gun. Yeah. Even when we started at Gun, when you look through what you have been done for past 4 years, where we started and what we are doing now, the type of foods, the type of cuisine, what we do is also I would say quite different. Yeah.
You were born and raised in Johor, and then, but you decided to open your first restaurant in Penang. Why is that, and not in Johor, in your own birthplace?
I mean, from a down south boy, when I was kids, and like north part of Malaysia, it's always bring us lots of curiosity for down south boys like us. When we get the chance to travel here, we feel it's very special here. And I mean, it's not like KL. We go KL very often, so those kind of curiosity, I think probably that's a reason that me to decide to come to Penang to be the first point when I decided to come back to Malaysia to continue my career as a chef. Yeah, I think, and anyway, that was my first job in Malaysia when I decided to come back in Malaysia. Yeah, I would say the curiosity, and the kind of heritage and sense being, yeah.
Back then, when you started Gun, the fine dining concept was still pretty fresh and new on this island. How did the idea to start Gun come about?
I think the first point come about the cooking. I decided to do something more related to my own roots, as Malaysian, no matter the produce, the cooking inspirations, and all kind of fundamentals. So the things start from the cooking, then next to the concept. Then when we started, we tried to use as much as the local produce we can and get different kind of local inspiration from different kind of aspects, no matter farmers, the markets, or your staff, or your colleagues, or different kind of people Malaysian you meet every day. Yeah, so that's where we started. And then, from time to time, we get a chance to sharpen our cuisine from bit by bit, and we explore more different kind of local producer in different sense, like local chocolate maker, caviar maker, different kind of vegetable farmer from Cameron Highlands. They're more, I would say, they are more professional or details in their works, as a producer, because they know that works very well. Yeah, so these are the kind of people we explore in these 4 years, and this helps us a lot for our kind of cuisine. Because things like that, you as a chef, you need things to cook. You need to find the good stuff to cook. You need to find the right produce to cook. I think that's very important for us. That's one point. And also, when we started, the Gun cuisine was still, because that's where how I trained, where I trained. It's, like you say, it's still very European, because my training was very European. That's where I traveled to work. So, and that's how I started. Even the cuisine where we started was also like that. So from time to time, when we get to stay in Malaysia, I myself stay in Malaysia for a longer time, and I get approached, and I hang out with Malaysian more and more. Then the cuisine go toward the directions to become more Malaysian and Malaysian, because we try to change the cooking towards the way how Malaysia cook the food by product in our ways. We try to use things in the those kind of ways in the commercial kitchen to cook the things. And you will realize that the food is getting, it's like that, from basic to what you present to the tables. If you, from the kitchen, if you use everything you European, of course, when you present from the zero element to the complete products, if you use that, then the guest can feel that that's what you're trying to do is whether Asian or European. But once you use things to be more locals, even so it's on your way, and you can feel, at the end, you can feel all that's on the plate. Yeah, that I will see that was the major transition between these 4 years. Yeah.
Incan is known for creating sophisticated foods with local ingredients, like you said, from Cameron Highlands and what you see around the neighborhood. How do you highlight this each ingredient? For example, we take ginger from Ayetam. How do you highlight this and make this produce as the star of the show?
Okay, I mean, yes, we use local produce, but we try to use as much as the real local produce, like neighborhood produce, where it's like produce around us. I mean, in Penang or in this northern region. So, few of the highlight ingredients. Item ginger flower definitely is one of the most significant from Penang. So, because it's spiciness and the sharpness of the ginger taste. So, we use them in a different sense. We mostly we use them for marinated foods or even for soup to bring out the to highlight the other ingredients because it's special. You don't really find no matter the ayam ginger or the ginger for pentong. I travel around the world for a few countries, but you never get a chance to find a ginger like that. This a lot of chefs might say that no matter the foreign chef or the local chef. I think from past few years, people always said that Malaysia, we don't have a really good local ingredients, but it's just the problem of perspective, and like depends what you're looking for. If you're looking the kind of good European ingredients in Malaysia, it doesn't really make sense. You need to find the good local ingredients in Malaysia. You can find plenty. But just whether whether you know how to use it, to correct to use it. I think that is the question. Yeah.
The last time we spoke, you talk about how the relationship between the ingredient and its identity. How, like you mentioned, if you want to say fresh strawberries in Malaysia, it's not as sweet as the one that you find overseas. And when you use these ingredients, then you use sugar to make the strawberry taste sweeter. But that's just kind of like not the correct way to use it. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Because where we are in Malaysia, the climate, the whole situation make us to produce in certain identities, the taste, the structures. Like example, like what you just mentioned, strawberry. Our strawberry is not as sweet as the other strawberry from the colder climate countries, but it's sour. It doesn't mean that it's not good. You can use that in the other way. Uh, I think even for straight consumption, I think it's still very personal. Not everyone, probably people prefer sweet strawberry, but even by myself, I like sour strawberry. Okay, beside that, beside that, you still can use the sour strawberry in a lot of things, preserve, pickle, and yeah, like put in sugar for macerated to make it sweet. Yeah, there's plenty of where you can do many things for that. And this is kind of Malaysian identity strawberry. The sourness is something you couldn't get it from the other colder climate. So for me, this is kind of treasure, and it depends how you explore the treasure to your cooking. This is just the strawberry is just one of the example. Yeah, because we choose to open a restaurant, we choose to cook here. Locally in Malaysia, then you should discover the kind of identity for all this produce to your cooking. You shouldn't forget the real identity, like we say sourness, and we try to really want to stick with those kind of sweetness. Then I think it just doesn't get the point for what you really can shine out the local ingredients. Yeah.
Penang is known for quick, cheap, amazing hawker food, and that's what also most Malaysians grow up with. How do you go about the challenges of introducing the fine dine culture to the local people here?
Yeah, of course, that's one of the crucial point, but I think it's just one of the stage. It's just our current stage, but it doesn't. And I think it's been 4 years. Not just 4 years. Since I come back to Malaysia and arrived Penang is almost is getting 6 years, and I see a lot of improvements. It's definitely a different stage from. The current stage definitely different from the stage when I just came back to Malaysia. and things are improved a lot. You don't just forget, Penang is not just a city; it's also a place of for tourism. It's never just a place for local. Even so, I think the locals is still very important for the restaurants. The regular support and their understanding is also very important because I mean, from where my past experience and travel experience, I a city. I mean, the kind of food, no matter local food or fine dining food, you need to. It's very important to get the local recognition too, because if you want the outside people to recognize you, of course, you need to get your own people to recognize yourself first. I think that's the somehow it's very important, and I think that I would say that from this point, even from this point, I see a lot of improvement from the past 6 years, and yeah, we can't just see things from now. I mean, we have to see things for the future. I think things will get improved bit by bit. And because when a lot of people travel to this city, yes, the travel that probably that's the main reason they travel here for the local food. That probably is the main reason they travel here for. But I think it's nowadays it's not just the only reason because the situation has changed. Not we have more restaurants coming up, lots of local talents. They choose to coming back to this island, different concept. Yeah, in a different concept. It's not like old days. If you want to eat fine dining food, you probably have those kind of choice, one or two choices, and you only go to have steaks and salads and some soup and just dessert, something like that. When it comes to old days, but now it's different. You have different kind of concept. You can have different type of Italian food, different French food, or different kind of innovative cuisine. What is similar like what I'm doing now. You have more and more, and I think this kind of talents when they're coming back, they raise the bar of the whole dining scene. And so, yeah, I think the people make it's no matter the people who make it or the people who spend the money come to the restaurant, both sides, they make the whole things improve and keep going. And yeah, and I think that's very important. The whole environment has changed. Even we have more 5-star and luxury hotels coming. When these people they come for staycations, they can't. I mean, they can't eat the hawker food for 3 meals and for 3 days trip or the whole weekend. They have to find something else to make their Penang experience more complete and better. Yeah, that's. I think all this will drive for a better direction and the whole dining scene to even improve. Yeah.
I watched a video a few days ago about how a fine dining restaurant they prep their meals behind the scenes, like how each toast is measured and cut into the same size, or how each cabbage is weighed accordingly before it's cooked. And I see how delicate it is, and I myself has experienced fine dining as well, and the experience was amazing. How I was treated as a customer, how they explain, and how it's played so intricately, like what you have said, the amount of care that's put into it. But Asian cuisine is usually served in abundance, a lot, like steamboat or like a plate of fried noodles. It's more for sustenance and indulgence, while fine dine is more on to quality and appreciation of the ingredients and how they work together. So how do you get people to understand that fine dine is not your usual Asian food, and it's also pretty expensive, and not a lot of people, not most Malaysians would agree to it. What do you have to say about that?
First of all, we are here not trying to make people to understand what we do. We are not coming to this point. So yeah, that's where I was trying. Is everything is so precise. You have to cut everything by a certain centimeter. You have to set up everything. It have to be by right or by left, or have to serve in this way, things like that. I guess that's the fundamental. Certain things is still within the principle and the ways, but because again, you are in Malaysia, you are in Penang, you have to blend into the culture. it's that's why I say we are not coming here to ask people to understand us. You have to we are feeding ourselves into the cultures and the whole environment. You want the people come to your restaurants to dine in a way like they enjoy the good food, they enjoy the good service, but sometimes they're not coming here to lecture them how to eat and how to dine. That's not what we want to do. We want the people just enjoy food and enjoy the service, and talk with us like a friends, share with us how they think the restaurant, everything just like a friends, It's just a friends. They come to a place, they pay the meal, and we cook for them. It's it's nothing to that way, We want to lecture the guests, let them to understand how to eat things like that. I don't think that's the right way to run the restaurant. Yeah.
What is the most interesting flavor pairing you have ever come across in your time as a chef?
I have done quite a lot of flavor combination in a very, yeah. If you ask me now, it's probably it's hard for me to memorize one, but from the guest comment or perspective, probably it's one of the dessert. It's always on our menu. It's actually inspiration from my mom again, and it's a pineapple. It's a dessert with pineapple and soy sauce and chili. But I I think probably sounds a bit very familiar for certain locals, especially Chaoju people, because it's kind of their culture. It's their heritage food. So basically, how they enjoy is they have the chunk of pineapples and just with chili padi and soy sauce. Sometimes the people put a little bit sugar. That's how the people enjoy it at home. But here we transfer it. We make it to a dessert and serve it to the guests. But we remain all type of elements, the soy sauce and the spiciness from chili padi, and yeah, we make it to a dessert. We make it in a gelato form and pie and some pickled pineapple and soy reductions. So the element is there, and for some of the people who never experienced this at their culture or from their past experience or their childhoods, that they found it, it's a weird, probably is a weird combination. Some people like it, some people don't like it because they think that this shouldn't be spicy. I mean, that's the kind of mindset. I mean, yeah, again, it's related to our last question. Nobody going to teach you what in finite what type of food going to be served or what type of ingredient you can use or what type of combination you should use for the fine dine restaurant. I think that shouldn't be that kind of formula to present in any form for the restaurants. Yeah. So yeah, we can choose our ingredients, what to cook and what to plate and what to use in the restaurants, and the guests should come open mind to enjoy that. And of course, you can share with us your comments and feedbacks. We're happy to accept that because we are not here to lecture you, and you're not here to understand what we're trying to do. Also, I think we just need to communicate. Yeah.
Open mind. I think open mind, like you said, is the key. Gun was the only restaurant in Penang voted into the 51 to 100 list of Asia's best restaurants 2021. How did that make you feel?
It is a good recognition. It is a very good recognition. I mean, I think the most important is it gives a good recognition for the efforts of all the team members that they have been paid off, especially in this situation, to make them still believe, being a chef or being a F&B player is still, I mean, you're still playing an important role for this industry. So yeah, to make them feel like they can just keep going in this industry. I think that's the most important things. I mean, the impact we get from this award. Yeah. And again, it's a good recognition for what we have been done. At least there's some people recognize what we do and what we're trying to cook, what we're trying to do with our restaurants. Yeah. Even though with these situations, we can't get much. I mean, besides, I would say that you give the staff of good feeling. I mean, for business wise, you probably don't get that because you're still within the lockdown. You don't get much. You don't really see much impact on that. But I mean, but there's a lot of things we can't see things from just like that. And yeah. Anyway, it's still a good thing.
What do you like most about being a chef?
Again, I love food. I love to eat, and I love to that's maybe that makes me love to cook and the process. And when you try, especially what I'm doing now with what we're trying to do, the recipes is the formulas is you have nothing to follow. You basically have to come up with your own flavor combinations because what we're trying to do is you don't have a reference to follow, and you have to try your things out, and the result might won't be like what you expect all the time. Sometimes can go the other way. So I think that's the interesting part. That's also the interesting part, right? That make the whole job interesting, and because things are unexpected, and so you can always improve, and you can always find, even from the unexpected thing, you can find certain things to be, to explore another new combination. So for me, that's very interesting.
Do you think being the chef, you carry a huge weight on your shoulders? Like you are the leader in the kitchen, you always got to be the visionary and the person to lead your team?
Yes and no. I mean, of course, I'm their leaders. I'm their chef. And I have to tell them what is right and wrong. It's good for them. If they do something wrong, don't tell them, and it's actually your fault as well. When they come out from here, they will bring this impact to anywhere else. I mean, they go for the next. That's not good. And yeah, as long as they are within your guidance, it's your responsibility to guide them to the right way.
Do you have any advice for aspiring chefs who's listening to the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, if you choose to be this for your career, or you choose to be study this course, and just stick with it, and no matter how the situation now is bad, and just keep on going, because if you stop this now and you think that you stop this and just rest it for a while and you come back, the situation won't change. I mean, if you want to be a good chef, you have to go through all this, and it makes you stronger. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Johnson, for coming on the show and sharing your story with us. I'm sure the listeners is going to find this very valuable as well.
All right, thank you, Cassie.
You have just listened to Foodie Canteen. Special thanks to Chef Johnson for sharing his story. The show is produced by me, your host, Castle Lim, and co-written by Mei Rui Kwa. Foodie Canteen podcast is made possible by the excellent team at Good Foodie Media. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Foodie Canteen for more. Follow us for brand new episodes every Friday. Thanks for listening.